All right, everybody, welcome back. Good afternoon. We got some more cornerbacks to take a look at here. We are getting now down into like the sixth and seventh round with the projection on most of these guys. So we are definitely starting to get up against some more niche prospects. You got to really dig to try to find the stuff that makes them intriguing. But we've certainly had a history in this league of finding some really good stuff down here, too. So you got to search for it. All right, Bilhal Kone is our first guy today. I probably didn't pronounce that right, but Bilhal Kone of Western Michigan. Western Michigan feels like they churn out a draft pick or two every year now. They've been doing pretty well lately. Couldn't find his age. Good height, but otherwise relatively small. Probably needs to add a little bit of weight. Short arms. Tested mixed. His 40 was good, but his vertical was embarrassing. Like, I don't know if he was if he had like weights on his ankles or something, but that's not okay. 31 and a half, that's tough to get around. He's not on very many big boards. ESPN has him in like the early 7th and CBS has him in the 3rd actually, so wide range, I guess. The aggregate has him in the 6th. Played a lot last year, 70 tackles. He's been on the field a lot for Western Michigan, but not a tremendous ball hawk. He does make a decent number of plays on the ball. His coverage metrics are nice, though. Over the last 2 years, you're looking at about 50% completion allowed. He's good in press coverage. He can press well. He showed that at Western Michigan at least. He can make a lot of plays on the ball. Like I said, he's got a decent number of breakups. He works through blockers pretty well. I think he's pretty good at fighting his way to the ball carrier. He's very tough to deal with at the catch point because he's so physical. He's sticky in man coverage. And he's got strong instincts in zone. So there's actually a few different things that are intriguing about Cone on defense here. Now, he doesn't flip his hips that well. So in terms of him being able to really hang with the guy as he starts sprinting downfield, I don't know how well that's going to work. I think that vertically he could get beat. He's probably going to get a lot of penalties in the pros because of how he plays. He's a little too physical. I feel like he needs to trust his instincts a little bit more. I think he has good instincts, but he just needs to gun it and just click and close downhill. And while I do think he's shown a willingness to get involved in run support, his actual tackling needs to improve. So, got some versatility. I like the man and zone flexibility, but he's got to make some improvements to actually become a viable NFL player. I think it's a nice little starting point, though. And I'm going to say 5th round pick. He's got some versatility. He's got some flexibility. So I'll go a little bit higher on him than the aggregate currently does. All right, next up, we're going to take a look at Mello Dotson, another very fun name here and a pretty interesting player. Mello Dotson of Kansas, another Wildcat, playing with Kobe Bryant up there. 6'1", so another kind of tall corner. He's got a little bit more meat on the bones, though. 192 pounds, that's nice, that works. 31 and a half inch arms works as well. Didn't test very well. Very slow, almost a 4.6 40. 153 10-yard split's fine. Vertical was weak. Broad jump was okay, so not a great athlete. But he's another guy that is kind of like he uses his size a little bit more. PFF really likes him. They have him in the 4th. We got CBS in the 5th. ESPN has undrafted. The aggregate says 6th. They have him just outside the top 200. A big-time ball hawk, I'll say that. Now, that kind of comes with, there's a good side and bad side here. Over the last 2 seasons, 9 interceptions, 18 passes broken up. So that's really good, but he's getting targeted constantly. Look at how much he's getting thrown at and look at how many completions he's allowing. So he gives up a lot of stuff, but he also, he gets occasionally. He will get, but he also gives. And it's a little bit of a tricky balance to run. So he's one of those guys that he'll make plays on the ball, but he's also going to give up a lot of plays. So he's big enough to play on the outside in the NFL. A lot of takeaways, a lot of plays on the ball in his career. Definitely a ball hawk. Played a lot of reps in college. I think he was another 3 or 4 year starter. He's got a good click and close, even though he doesn't have the greatest athleticism. He can gun downhill with the best of them. Tracks the I think that he had like 3 pick sixes last year. He makes a lot of big plays. And he's got a really good instinctive understanding of playing zone. So he makes it work. Now, when you get to the NFL, the things that worked for you in college might not keep working. He is very slow. He's not going to be able to cover downfield. He gives up a lot of completions due to a lack of long speed. He just can't keep up with guys when he tries to cover them in man. He's going to fall off eventually. And he's not a very good tackler, which is disappointing because he's big, he's got decent size, and he's slow. You need to be able to tackle a little bit to make up for that. So he's unique. He finds a way to make it work despite not having great athletic ability. So I like it. I just need him to be better at tackling. So I'll say late fifth round pick and hope I can develop him and get better tackling out of him. But I don't think a cornerback this slow and this unathletic and also not really willing to stick his nose in there and make plays in the a run game, I don't think that's going to work that well. So late fifth round pick, and we'll see if we can make that better. And I guess worst case scenario, I get a decent ball hawk. Brandon Adams of UCF, I think he's also known as BJ Adams. Tall, but very lean, 182 pounds at 6'2". Yikes. Long arms, relatively speaking. Got nice arm length. Tested bad. Slow, not quick, not explosive. ESPN was the only major big board that had him. They had him in like the fifth, but the aggregate has him all the way down in the seventh. So the smaller big boards are pulling him down a little bit. Not a lot of football over the last few years, to be perfectly honest. If you combine the last 2 years, 35 tackles, 2 picks, 4 passes broken up. He does have pretty good coverage numbers. He's allowed less than 50% completion over the last 2 years, which is great, but it's actually not that big of a sample size, even though it's 2 years. So he's got the size and he's got the length that you want for an outside cornerback, and he's good in press. I will say that. He's definitely good in press, and I do think that if you put him in press man, he can hold up pretty well. He can close up catch spaces very quickly. He can close down windows very quickly because he's got the length for it, and he can just kind of dive in there at the last second and break it up. His downhill gun is rapid and well-timed, so the click and close is there. He's a competitive cornerback who fights to get into the play. I'm not denying his desire to be good. I'm not denying his fire. But when you're this slow and you're this unathletic in general and you're not agile and you don't have reactive athleticism, can you really hang in the NFL? It's tough. It's a little bit harder up there. Like, you have to really be good instinctively in zone, and I don't think his zone instincts are there yet. I think that he needs to develop more there, and if he doesn't have that, it's going to be really hard for him to find his way. And he's not a good tackler, by the way. He's really not. So he's probably got to add weight without it completely killing his already lackluster athleticism. Then he's got to develop zone instincts and probably become a better tackler. The only thing to really get excited here to me is probably just the frame and the ability to play press. But I don't think there's enough here to make the jump in level of competition going from UCF to the NFL. So I can't go any higher than a 7th round pick. I think he's worth a 7th round pick, and that's it. So Brandon Adams, not really seeing much here. I see a frame that some coach might be into, but I don't think it's going to manifest the way that it needs to in order to be good in the NFL. All right. I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. One more corner video today. Might be another video later today as well if something happens or there's something worth discussing. So I'll see you guys soon. Go Hawks. Keep an eye out for another video soon.